This is HRTV Rewind, taking a look back at the racing week.
Good work in the AM, had a bullet near here in the PM. All these racetracks across the country this weekend hosting great races. Which track has the best chance to have a Breeders' Cup winner perform?
I would say probably New York.
Yeah.
Belmont. Yeah. Stop Shopping Maria, maybe Alpha. There's a few others in there. Yeah. Okay.
How about your race of the week, the Siegel race of the week?
Well, the one I'm most interested in is the Champagne, 2-year-olds, and I'm really curious to see if Alpha is as good as I think he is.
Better 2-year-olds, East Coast or West Coast?
Well, right now I'd say the West Coast with Creative Cause, Drill, but well, that could change
after Saturday.
That could change dramatically. Yeah, we'll see how Alpha and that Union Rags do.
What would you consider his style is going into this one-turn, 1-mile race?
Well, we knew that when we ran him going 5/8 of a mile, that really wasn't his deal. But we just thought he was ready to run. As I said, he's quite a big horse. He's like 16.3, and he's really, really a beautiful-looking horse. And we knew that wasn't his deal, and then we just thought if he would get up for a second or third or something like that, we'd be very happy just so we got a race into him. And when he did run so well, that's why we thought we'd give him a chance to run in the Saratoga Special. But I think that day with the slop, Javier had it in his mind that he had to get him close to the pace and stay there because that's the way the bias was working all day. And, you know, I think you can do whatever you want with him. I mean, if the pace is real fast, he'll lay off it. If it's not, he'll be closer. He's a very sensible horse to do anything you want to do with him.
Opening weekend at Keeneland, it looks like he gave up a couple of live mounts to come to New York and ride Union Rags here. What went into the conversations with Javier? Did he want to come and ride?
Well, there actually was no conversation. He just said, "Where are you running the horse?" And that was it.
Takes the gold. Union Rags looks for a way through down inside. Now he looks for the way through outside into the final furlong. Alpha kicking in. And now there's running room for Union Rags. And Union Rags is full of run. Right to vote in Alpha. Union Rags to Breeders' Cup riches.
Well, he's very professional, that's for sure. And he handled the adversity of being boxed in a little bit. And you know, there's not much I can say, but he's a real nice horse. I mean, we'll see how he comes out here, and right now, I wouldn't want to trade with anybody.
He's very light feet, the horse, and he can put it wherever you want. It's easy to ride it, a very good trip in the race. I mean, you can do whatever you want.
My Miss Aurelia out there and holding on. Stop Shopping Maria. Miss Netta's made a run from a mile out of it. She'll be third. No doubt about who is first here. My Miss Aurelia in a dazzling effort. 1 by 5 and 135 and 1.
To have a filly that's a 2-year-old that keeps moving forward like this, it's a special feeling. And I mean, what more can you say? Look at her just stride out, and what a special filly. Definitely concerned about that. I thought there was a tremendous amount of ability in the race. Nothing but respect for the other fillies. But very special filly, means a lot to win a grade 1 with a homebred for Stone Street. And she's a special filly.
Brilliant Speed has been in a drive for a quarter mile, but he's still second, and Wilkinson is third, and they're coming down to the finish, and it will be Western Aristocrat. Corey Nakitani put him asleep, put this one on the lead, and held it all the way. Brilliant Speed was second, Wilkinson was third.
Give us the skinny, Awesome Feather. How is she doing coming into this race?
She seems to be training very well. She's nice and sound, looks healthy. We're anxious to see what she does today. She's not a very big horse, and she's full of energy all the time. So these types of horses, it usually doesn't take as many works to get them fit to run. She was getting close to running at the end of July, and then she had a couple little minor setbacks, not related to her previous injury, just some other little stuff. And so we gave her some more time, and the Stronachs have been great through the whole thing. They've always indicated to me to let the filly tell us when she's ready, and if she's ever ready, to go ahead and put her in. And I made the call last week. I think she's ready. So he said, go ahead and run her.
1 furlong from the wire. Awesome Feather still there. Sentimental Ass chasing her home. Awesome Feather working for it, but will remain undefeated. Awesome Feather wins by a length and a quarter at the end.
We got to get out to Belmont Park for their opener. Welcome to our friends in New York in what could be easily a stakes race. The return of Boys of Toscanova and Tabazar. Boys of Toscanova hasn't been seen since Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Tapazar, the Bob Lewis, back in February at Santa Anita.
Tapazar, really the only other horse in the field that has any kind of numbers that would even menace Boys at Toscanova if, say, he wasn't quite there. But Tapazar coming off 8 months as well.
Uptown Charlie Brown could not get to him, and Boys at Toscanova will not get to him. It is Tapazar, the winner by 2.5 lengths. Uptown Charlie Brown second. Boys at Toscanova checks in third at 1-2. Star for a Day was fourth.
Corey, you rode yourself right into the record books at Belmont Park, and when you look back at the jockey colonies in New York over the years, that is a prestigious honor. It all started for Steve Asmussen in race number 1. Describe your day from the start to the finish.
Well, everything just kind of clicked, you know. Steve has given me a tremendous opportunity to ride a lot of very nice horses, and Tapazar is one of them, and obviously the filly in the stake later on in the day was she was amazing too. So it's just, you know, one of those things that you get in a groove, and things are just going right, and you know, it's a tribute just to, you know, working hard, and obviously getting over the injuries I had in the past few years, and just feels good to be back, and I appreciate you guys at HRTV speaking highly of me.
How did you get this done? How were you able to take down Goliath in Russell Bayes up there at Golden Gate Fields?
Well, a lot of things go into, you know, anytime you're a leading rider, and mainly it's your business. You know, it's Dennis, my agent, put me on quite a few horses and spread our business out throughout the backside, and so we were riding for just about everybody, and you know, with great opportunities, we were able to take advantage of it. And you know, part of winning the titles is not getting suspensions, and you know, sometimes you're going to go out of town, and you just have to be able to have enough business to cover that. And you know, I know Russell did do some traveling, and we were fortunate to pick up great business when he did, and just the momentum carried us through.
You're watching HRTV Rewind with a week of racing to recap.
And Black Caviar's moved to the lead coming around the home turn ahead of Karuta Queen. Coolgrinder's trying to run on down the outside, and then Morgan Dollar and Platinum Sky down on the inside. But it is all about Black Caviar. She went past the 200, lengthening by 4 lengths. Away she goes. What a champion. 14 straight, and she's up there with the greatest ever.
Yeah, it's just relief, Bruce. It's, you know, it's been a build-up like no other, and it's just great to have her back on track and doing what she does best.
But you knew she was going to do that, surely?
Oh, listen, yeah, you know, you just always fear that something can go wrong. You know, that's really the only way they'll beat her. But touch wood each time she goes out, and cross fingers. And I've got the $1 coin in my pocket. Thanks, bud.
Oh, fantastic.
That's Mrs. Moody. Show us the $1 coin, Pete, and the story behind the lucky $1 coin that you use here.
We carry that in my pocket every time. The owner bring it to the races for me, and we look after it each time. So, no, it served us well. So, no, listen, mate, just pure relief to have her back in great shape.
Introducing Lonhro, the Australian champion and champion sire who's coming to Kentucky in 2012. A champion sire who ran 35 times for 26 victories. The racehorse as nature intended. Lonhro, just about the finest Australian thoroughbred in living memory.
What went into the thoughts to bring Lonhro here?
Well, I think you hit it right on the head. He's a phenomenal racehorse, a champion racehorse, as you well know, and with only his 4th crop to race, is already a champion sire. And to put that in perspective, I think that's the first time in 40 years, and that puts him in the same category with our APND and Seattle Slews and Bull Rulers of the world. So that's really the caliber horse that we probably don't know that much about, but that's certainly what he is in Australia, and we feel very, very comfortable that he's going to have that same impact up here.
Geronimo's got first run. Geronimo kicks away for home. Mr. Commons comes after him, but Geronimo's full of run. Mr. Commons letting loose a late run now. Geronimo, Mr. Commons coming at him, but Geronimo finds more, and a huge win by Geronimo. Geronimo a length to Mr. Commons, who had to settle for second.
What's going through my mind right now is I'm pretty excited about this race because he just came off a terrible showing in the Pacific Classic. He was about 95% cranked today, so we thought he was going to win, but when they're 95%, you're not sure. But Martine rode him perfect. He ran good. And frankly, I think what I'm thinking right now is I think the horse with this type of athleticism is going to be a good sire. That's what I'm thinking right now.
Homeward bound, the Factor's in deep trouble. He can find no more. Amazombi can. Mensa Heat at the rail, and then Irrefutable. They come for home, and Amazombi strikes the front. Amazombi, Mensa Heat battling on at the rail. Irrefutable in the center. Amazombi gonna win it. Amazombi and Mike Smith have taken the ancient title.
How excited are you? This is like justice for you that he wins a Grade 1.
It's just amazing, isn't it? I mean, it means for all this little people, we got a chance in this game, you know? It's really, really good.
Bob Baffert joked to you before the race that, you know, you're not going to win because you'll get DQ'd even if you do, but it was a fair race today.
It was a very good race today, and Mike did a great job. He just did a great job. And, of course, Bill Spar does an awesome job all the time. So.
Yes, everybody's been asking about the Factor, and actually he came out of the race very well. He wasn't really as, tired as I thought he might be. He just, he was, they got in a little speed duel there, but, that happens once in a while when you're when you're on the rail, and that's what I was worried about. But he came out of it in good shape, so he looked great today, so that's all that matters. So we'll just move on to the next race and just draw a line through this one.
Santa Anita Sprint Stakes will always conjure up memories of champion Kona Gold. His breeding suggested he would navigate a distance of ground, yet he never ran a step beyond 7 furlongs. He was purely a sprinter, and a smoking fast one at that. Trained and co-owned by Bruce Headley, Kona Gold had physical issues that delayed his racing debut until he was 4. The gelding made up for lost time quickly. In just his 6th career start, Kona Gold finished 3rd in the 1998 Breeders' Cup Sprint. On his home court, he was king.
Kona Gold beats Big Jag, and Kona Gold is back to his very best. By 6-7 lengths, Kona Gold scintillating. Here's the wire, Kona Gold prevailed. Superb effort from the sprinter of the year, Kona Gold.
He was also capable of bringing his A game east of the Rockies.
Kona Gold has won it by a diminishing half a length.
Kona Gold's final time was a stakes record. Before his retirement as a 9-year-old in 2003, Kona Gold had run in 5 consecutive Breeders' Cups. Headley's preferred sprint prep for his gelding was the Ancient Title. Kona Gold would only capture the Ancient Title once, but his winning effort with regular rider Alex Solis aboard was easily one of the most dominating performances in the race's history.
This is the classy Kona Gold today. Kona Gold could not have been more impressive. Wins it easy.
In the following year's Ancient Title, his 127-pound weight assignment may have played a role in his defeat, as the winner carried 11 fewer pounds.
Swept overboard, ridden with exuding confidence by Eddie D, and swept overboard beats Kona Gold today.
A darling in the Headley barn, no one was anxious for Kona Gold to move on after his racing days concluded. So he stayed for a while longer, in a different role. Sadly, in 2009, at the age of 15, Kona Gold was euthanized after injuring himself in his paddock at the Kentucky Horse Park, where he had lived since 2008. You're watching HRTV Rewind.
taking a look back at the racing week.
Well, it was opening weekend at Keeneland, and because of just fantastic weather here in the Bluegrass, the people came out in droves. A record-setting day here on Friday for a Friday of the Fall meet with over 19,000 people, young fans, college kids, and the regular racetrackers as well, all to come out here and, of course, enjoy this beautiful atmosphere, but to see fantastic horse racing. So let's get right into that racing because a packed weekend here with huge Breeders' Cup implications on the line. We'll kick it off on Friday. We had the Phoenix Stakes, which is a win in your in for the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Hoof It. Now, Hoof It, not necessarily nominated to the Breeders' Cup, but they may go in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint.
To be honest, I think this horse, if his future is going to be on any surface, it's going to be the grass. So, you know, I'd be more inclined to take a shot at the Breeders' Cup on the grass if we were to do either.
On to the Darley, Alcibiades, the 2-year-old fillies. Again, it was all about turf horses. Stephanie's Kitten, and what a weekend for the Ramsey stable. Ken Ramsey, huge weekend.
Out at Churchill Downs, we're going in the turf race. We actually only entered this last race just to take a look, and we got to looking at it and thought we had a big shot, so we left her in.
So there's a horse winning a race here. There's a winning in for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. She's going in the Juvenile Fillies Turf. The runner-up, though, to me was very impressive in that race, and that was Heart of Destiny. Love the way she ran. She does handle the dirt course. This is one to watch. On to Saturday, a huge day on Saturday. They kicked it off with the Woodford Stakes. Once again, we have a horse in there. Questionable, that was not a win in your in race, but questionable as to whether he will go in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint.
We're always for the game, we take a lot of chances, so we may see. I don't know, it depends on how he's doing.
On to the Breeders' Futurity for the Colts, and this race, a big effort from Dullahan. Again, this is a turf horse. Dale Roman saying he's not sure if he's going to go in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Well, I don't know, we have to make a decision. I mean, if we run in the turf, we have to drop back down to a mile, and if we try the dirt, you know, he hasn't run very well on the dirt before, so we'll talk about it and decide what to do with him.
But I like a couple of the other horses in there. The runner-up, Majestic City, huge effort from him. Peter Miller was ecstatic with him. He is on to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. And we had the TCA, that's the fillies and mares, on the poly track again. This is a win and you're in for the filly and mare sprint on the dirt. But again, we have a filly who handles the poly track well. Holiday for Kitten for Ken Ramsey, but he said yes, he is going in the Breeders' Cup filly and mare sprint. He thinks she'll run on absolutely anything. A couple other races to get to. Of course, Gio Ponte, how could we leave him out with the Shadwell Turf Mile, Grade 1 win and you're in for the TVG Breeders' Cup Turf Mile.
Gio Ponte's back. Yes, Gio Ponte's back.
I think he's a great horse. You know, he's been overcoming me for the last 3 or 4 years. He keeps winning, and you know, I thought he was as good as ever this year. I just thought he lacked a bit of racing luck, so it's great for him to win this race, and we'll go from there.
And then the First Lady. Now, this race was not a Breeders' Cup win and you're in. It's a mile on the turf, never retreats. She never seems to get the ultimate respect for Chris Block, always runs her race. I was most impressed, though, by Together, who was the runner-up. So we'll see if either of them decide to go into the filly and mare turf. 2 more stakes to wrap up. First would be the Bourbon Stakes, the 2-year-olds on the turf course. And Animal Spirits for trainer Al Stahl breaks his maiden in this Grade 3, was able to stay out of some mishap that happened down the stretch there.
They had a maiden race early in the card that had a bunch of entries, and the horse was training so well, and we were pointing for this weekend. We just have to open the stake race, and we figured he'd be 7-8 to 1, and that's where he fit in.
And the trainer Al Stahl thinking that more than likely, if this horse can get in Animal Spirits, he will be running in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf at Churchill Downs. And then it wraps up with the Grade 1 Juddmonte Spinster. This is a win and you're in for the ladies classic division. Aruna taking this, a big weekend for Graham Motion and jockey Ramon Dominguez. And trainer Graham Motion now with some decisions to make, as Aruna has never tried the dirt course before. She's been successful now on polytrack and on the turf.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something I got to talk to Maria about. I think the mile and 8 is a great distance for this filly, so it could even be a situation where we might take her over there and let her stretch her legs on the dirt and see how she handles it. Her mother won on the dirt at Saratoga, so it's definitely something to think about.
So will it be the dirt at Churchill Downs or the turf course there, where she is a winner of the Mrs. Revere Stakes? So that wraps it up. Big weekend from Keeneland. The win and you're in races here are done. 1 more to go, though, at Keeneland for the Breeders' Cup win and you're in, guys.
The big horse back in the winner's circle. That must have been a thrill to see Gio Ponte perform as well as he did.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. You know, he's a very good horse. He's been good to all of us in the barn. And, you know, we're just very lucky to hear from him, you know.
Christoph, he's a Triple Eclipse Award winner. He loves Keeneland Perfect 3 for 3. He raced a mile to perfection yesterday. Is a mile his best distance now at the ripe age of 7?
No, I think mine is a great distance, but I still think he can compete against the best in a mile and 8 mile and a quarter. The main thing is to get from the turf, you know?
into the final furlong now. Northeast bound, digs down deep, and he's tenaciously holding on to the lead. A first success is right in Stokeledge. Here comes Mutatir, and with giant strides, War Chant is flying as they come to the finish. Here's the war! War Chant coming from 13th in this field.
When he got here, he was really a young horse. He's a late Mayfoal, which means when he ran in the Derby, he wasn't even really 3. So he was very immature. The guys always say that they know now what their mother went through when they were 16, because he is the ultimate bad boy. I mean, he just likes to do everything the hard way. Kind of reminds me of Fonzie. You know, he's a great horse, great guy, but can be tough when he needs to be. They've been exercising horses here for a long time. We started when Seattle Slew came. And it really is not only for their physical benefit, but for their mental benefit. It's somebody else telling them what to do, somebody else getting them out in the morning. You know, it's what they're born to do. They love to do it. He has a great time. He's the first horse that goes out every morning. He's just a real professional every morning, but he loves to go.
Chant coming from 13th in this field.
It was a formful afternoon at Santa Anita for the 10th running of the Breeders' Cup in 1993. There was nothing shocking about the winning performances of Cardmania, Phone Chatter, Hollywood Wildcat, Lure, Brocco, or Coda Shop. Then came Arkong. When the mutual windows closed, the Andre Fabre-trained Arkong was 133-1, making him only the 4th horse in the history of the Classic to go off at triple-digit odds. Among the 13-horse field was a salty group of multiple stakes winners. Daniel Wildenstein's Arkong had credentials of his own. The 5-year-old was a Group 1 winner in France. Yet he hadn't won a race in several months and was untested on dirt. Nobody was begging for the mount. At the last minute, the riding engagement went to one of America's best jockeys, Jerry Bailey, who surprisingly wasn't committed to another horse. Bailey and Arkong were the perfect match. They didn't just win the Classic, they won it in style.
Here comes Arkang, a huge upset looming here as Arkang comes flying on the outside, and he runs by Bertrando Kissick Chris. Here is Arkang to win it in an absolute shocker. He's 99-1 in the $3 million Classic.
Gasps were heard in the grandstand as the tote board lit up. A $2 win wager returned $269.40. To this day, it is the highest mutual price of any Breeders' Cup winner.
That's all for Rewind this week. Here's a look at what's coming up next week on HRTV.
Don't get alarmed. This is actually me from yesterday. I can't change my outfit this quick, throwing out to Millie Ball. Scott? We now move over to Millie Ball for her international report. And Millie, last weekend was ARC weekend in France. What's up with Daydream, the ARC winner, the German bred?